This is CBN NewsWatch.
And thank you for joining us. I'm Ephraim Graham. One of the most dangerous street gangs is in the crosshairs of President Donald Trump. The gang, known as MS13, uses machetes to kill its victims. The president wants to get rid of them and is threatening to cut funding to any nation that allows MS13 gang members allows them to enter the United States illegally. Our George Thomas has more.
Police! Stop! Police! We got 3 juveniles running from on foot.
They've been called one of the most brutal street gangs in the world.
It's a menace, a ruthless gang that has violated our borders and transformed once peaceful neighborhoods into blood-stained killing fields.
We're with ICE, Homeland Security Investigations in Dallas.
Now, Trump says he's determined to destroy the notorious and ruthless gang known as MS13.
MS13 lives by the motto, kill, rape, and control. That's actually their motto. Kill, rape, and control.
Wednesday, on New York's Long Island, which has some 2,000 MS13 members, the president met with community leaders on stopping the scourge. The estimates are that there are more than 10,000 MS gang members operating across 40 U.S. states and more than 30,000 around the world. Experts say our schools are a prime hub for the gang's recruitment drive.
You know, the school grounds are a big area where the MS13 gang recruit from.
Trump is floating the idea of cutting aid to countries that do nothing to stop MS gang members from crossing into America illegally. The administration claims it has proof MS13 leaders based in El Salvador are sending recruits into our nation to kill, rape, and control even more territory. Since taking office, Trump has ordered Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents, also known as ICE, to aggressively pursue MS13 members. According to the most recent stats, there were 796 MS13 gang arrests in 2017, up from 432 the previous year. In the first 3 months of 2018, ICE reports 405 suspected gang members were apprehended.
You, more than anyone in the country, is highlighting the evil of MS13. I congratulate you. I thank you for leading this effort. They are horrible, vicious, rotten murderers.
Trump came under fire last week when he referred to MS13 gang members as animals. On Wednesday, he defended his comments again.
I called them animals the other day, and I was met with rebuke. They said, they're people. They're not people. These are animals. And we have to be very, very tough.
George Thomas, CBN News.
A senior North Korean official is warning of a nuclear showdown if diplomacy between her country and the U.S. fails. North Korea became outraged after Vice President Mike Pence echoed a statement by National Security Advisor John Bolton that the nation may end up, quote, like Libya, where former leader Muammar Gaddafi was killed by rebels in 2011 after renouncing nuclear weapons. The North Korean official called Pence's remarks, quote, stupid. In recent days, both sides have said the planned June 12th summit in Singapore could be canceled or postponed. Back in March, it was Kim Jong-un who invited President Donald Trump to meet. Here's a look now at some of the other big headlines we're following for you in the CBN newsroom. A select group of lawmakers will learn today more about the controversy President Donald Trump has dubbed Spygate. 10 lawmakers from the House and Senate, along with President Trump's Chief of Staff and Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, will be briefed about a longtime government informant. That informant reportedly spied on the Trump campaign while investigating Russian efforts to influence the election. This year, professional players will be required to stand for the national anthem at NFL games. The new rule was approved unanimously by team owners at their spring meeting. Players are allowed to stay in their locker rooms during the anthem, but if they're on the field, they have to stand or their team could face fines. The NFL Players Association has signaled it may challenge the new rule. And in Texas, police found 86 people inside a refrigerated trailer concealed behind rotten produce. The illegal immigrants were discovered 45 miles north of the border. Truck drivers are paid a fee per person to smuggle people across the border. The driver was arrested. 2 immigrants were treated for dehydration. Now you can find more on these stories throughout the day at cbnnews.com. The first comprehensive prison reform bill in years sailed through the House this week. Now, as Amber Strong shows us, it carries the support of President Donald Trump and former inmates who've seen the power of redemption.
Topeka K. Sam knows the power of second chances.
If you don't have hope, you have nothing. And I realized that through my journey.
The former union chairwoman served time for a drug charge. Now she's free, focused, and fighting for those still behind bars.
That I also was driven and moved spiritually to help women coming home.
She, along with help from the left, the right, and the White House, worked to bring change.
If we want more prisoners to take charge of their own lives, then we should work to give them the tools to stand on their own 2 feet.
The House's latest attempt at prison reform has created strange bedfellows, uniting liberal-leaning groups like Cut 50 with conservative groups like the Faith and Freedom Coalition. Among the bill's highlights, $50 million for prison programs, including faith-based initiatives addressing substance abuse, mental health, and job training, banning prisons from shackling women during childbirth, and allowing certain prisoners the chance to serve time in halfway houses. All things co-sponsor Republican Doug Collins says will keep inmates from going back once they're released.
The question is do we offer them a redemptive path or are we simply a punitive corrective path?
Former inmate and activist John Kufo says it's about changing the process.
Folks come out of prison, they don't have identification, they haven't gone through real vocational training, and oftentimes a risk assessment hasn't been developed at an early stage. And to me, that's like going to a hospital knowing you broke your leg but receiving no diagnostic tests, waiting for it to heal, and then say, go walk.
But nothing comes easily in D.C. Critics complain it doesn't go far enough and fails to address sentencing. Jessica Sloan says, tell that to the folks still in prison.
And I don't think that it's fair to ask people who are in prison to just sit tight until 2021 or 2025 and suffer through the inhumane treatment that they're getting inside and come out worse off than to actually start doing something.
The uphill battle doesn't end here. It's off to the Senate to face yet another challenge. Amber Strong, CBN News, Washington.
Evangelist Franklin Graham is on a mission to take the gospel message to the West Coast, starting with California. Graham's Decision America tour is working its way from San Diego up the Canadian border with a stop Wednesday in Oxnard on the southern coast of California. We need a spiritual revival, Graham says, of the tour. This is the third straight year for the Decision America tour. Graham held prayer gatherings in all 50 state capitals before the last presidential election. He tweeted Wednesday, join us and hear the good news that could change your life forever. I want to turn now to Ireland, where voters will decide Friday whether to repeal the nation's pro-life amendment from its constitution. And experts say the race has tightened considerably. Aldale Hurd continues to follow this story for us.
It's being debated in homes, pubs, and on street corners across Ireland whether to repeal the 8th Amendment, which guarantees the right to life of both mother and child.
My son's godmother and I actually had a huge falling out. We haven't spoken a year because she's a nurse and she's vote yes and I'm vote no, and like it's literally it has actually divided us. Like we're just not speaking at all.
Polling still shows the repeal or yes side with the lead, but some polls show it shrinking. And because there are so many undecided voters, almost a quarter, some experts think the race has become too close to call. A repeal would allow for abortion up to 12 weeks, but pro-lifers here fear it would quickly turn into abortion on demand at any time. Ireland's 8th Amendment already protects the life of a woman during pregnancy, so some say it's a stretch to claim that the amendment puts women's lives in danger. A major controversy has been a ban on foreign social media advertising by Facebook and Google, which seems aimed at stopping the pro-life side.
I think it is intended to hurt our campaign. I think Google are, having watched the results of the American presidential election and the British referendum on the European Union, are a little bit concerned that if the no vote wins, that they would have gotten the blame. So they decided to shut down all advertising.
Official results are not expected until Saturday, but exit polling may show the results Friday. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Coming up, he's America's top doctor, and he's got a controversial plan to combat drug use. See who Dr. Jerome Adams is partnering with to end the opioid crisis. Last fall, President Donald Trump declared the nation's opioid epidemic a public health emergency. Now the president is looking for answers among his administration. Our Amber Strong sat down with the U.S. Surgeon General and learned how he is planning to make America clean again.
From the front seat of a car in tiny Hope, Indiana, to our nation's biggest pop stars.
Rock legend Tom Petty has died.
It was well known that the Purple Rain star had pain issues.
The fallout from the country's opioid epidemic hits all levels of society. Overdose deaths, including prescription drugs and heroin, have increased by more than 5 times since 1999. A killer addiction reaching more than 42,000 people in 2016 alone. All reasons President Trump has vowed to break the stranglehold of opioids.
I will tell you, this scourge of drug addiction in America will stop.
Just steps away from the White House stood a reminder of a president's promise to a nation.
A memorial of 20,000 faces and lives cut short by opioids.
It's amazing. Each time you look, you see a different face.
Surgeon General Dr. Jerome Adams leads a part of the administration's fight, specifically reducing supply, protecting the borders, and saving lives.
As the Surgeon General, I'm really leaning into all 3 of those areas in different ways, but particularly the saving lives component.
Given his vision of better health through better partnerships, the anesthesiologist is looking beyond the Beltway for help.
I've got to think about law enforcement, I've got to think about the educational community, and particularly the faith-based community.
That's because he sees the church playing a major part in the fight.
You think about how much Jesus was really looked down upon for reaching out to individuals. But some of the best stories in the Bible are when he reached out to non-traditional partners and brought them in.
So the Department of Health and Human Services put out a toolkit for churches, encouraging them to open their doors to programs like Narcotics Anonymous and Celebrate Recovery, while also pushing the power of prayer.
They're there feeding the hungry. They're clothing the naked. They're doing the things that are going to be part of a successful long-term recovery for individuals and for our country.
Adams, a Maryland native who studied medicine in Indiana, California, and Zimbabwe, believes those experiences help him see the difference between each individual community.
Being able to go to different countries, being able to go to different parts of the U.S. has helped me understand that folks in Boston, Massachusetts may think a little bit differently, may have different assets or different challenges than folks in Arkansas.
Adams made headlines when he issued the first Surgeon General advisory in 13 years, a controversial plan to put the overdose reversing drug naloxone in the hands of everyday citizens. Critics claim it promotes addiction.
There are these people out there who think providing naloxone doesn't make a difference. They're just going to go on to misuse substances again. Well, that would be like me saying, I'm not going to do surgery on that trauma patient because they're just going to go out there and speed again and get into another car wreck.
Adams says access to naloxone enables life, not addiction.
I met a wonderful gentleman named Travis. Travis has 2 little children. Travis has overdosed several times and been resuscitated several times. He's now successfully in recovery.
It's not the first time he's made a tough call. In 2015, an opioid-induced HIV epidemic ripped through Scott County, Indiana. Addicts there were using dirty needles.
Indiana is now in the midst of the largest HIV outbreak in state history.
The end result? 181 confirmed cases due to what many called a slow response from the state.
I'm confident that we're going to stop this in its tracks, but this is an epidemic.
Despite pushback, Adams, as health commissioner at the time, called for a clean needle exchange to curtail the outbreak.
We had to help them understand that we weren't enabling drug use by having a syringe service program. By designing it in concert with the faith-based community, we were enabling recovery.
Each act showing the belief of this husband and father of 3 that life has value.
None of us knows what God has in store for us. And it's incredibly arrogant of us to think that we should judge other people or that we can determine that someone's life is no longer worth living.
For Dr. Adams, the fight to bring an end to the opioid crisis goes beyond these doors, because for him, it's personal.
My little brother Philip is in state prison right now. He stole $200 to support his habit and was given a 10-year prison sentence. So if I, as Surgeon General, could not have prevented my own brother from going down that pathway alone, I think the message is that no one can prevent it alone.
Adams believes sharing his own testimony can help others.
Stigma is when we can separate a group of people into us and them. The way you lower stigma is by helping folks realize how everyone is affected.
As the son of teachers, Adam says his parents always taught him to serve others. Now he gets that chance as top doctor to a nation in desperate need of a cure. Amber Strong, CBN News in Washington.
Still ahead, we're sitting down with former NFL running back Rashad Jennings. The athlete and actor is now a best-selling author. Rashad Jennings won't suit up when the NFL season begins. This is his first official year of retirement. So in this week's Studio 5, we head to the Empire State to sit down with the former Giant.
He's been preparing me everywhere he's taken me. And now to be in New York as a Giant. I had to overcome many Giants to now actually become a Giant.
How does an asthmatic, overweight teenager with a .6 GPA become a successful running back?
I had so many excuses, so many reasons of why it was everybody else's fault, why I was not succeeding in school, why I couldn't get the certain weight that I wanted, why I couldn't run faster. I always had an excuse for everyone else. And it became a point in my life where I truly stopped blaming anybody. I started looking in the mirror. And, there was something that was said before, heard it many a times, but it resonates with me strongly, that we should definitely be on our knees praying, that it all depends on God. And we got to get up off our knees and go work, as it all depends on us.
It's advice and stories like these Rashad is sharing in his new book, The If in Life, How to Get Off the Sidelines and Become Your Best Self. At what moment did you recognize the power of the word if when it comes to life?
Major question. I titled the book The If in Life, and it was a play on words. That's because the word if is in the middle and the foundation of the word life. So I wanted to extract that one little itty bitty word that has so much power and talk about it. If I didn't have a loving mother, if I would have chose to respond to racism the wrong way, if I didn't have God at the center of my life. And I go through 15 different chapters, intimate stories, hilarious stories, motivational stories, sad stories of how this one word pops out in life all the time. And it's gonna challenge and convince every reader who reads it to find their own if. And once you do, life started to make a little bit more sense.
Now, this really is your first official season in the NFL as a retired running back. How are you feeling?
This is definitely the first season of retirement, and I feel great. I don't know if that sounds bad to be able to say that or good, but I feel great. And I think I feel great because I gave it everything. I have no regrets. I can't think of one day, one night where I'm like, man, I wish I would have gave it more effort. None of that. And also, I've always said that if I'm only remembered as an NFL running back in my book, I'm a failure, truly. I knew football was going to be only for a moment in life, even a very long career is short. It was a platform, it was a child's dream. It's opened up doors that a degree would never have allowed on its own. It's allowed me to see the U.S. and all the cities. It's beautiful, truly. But walking away from it, I feel like I'm just starting life now. I get to start writing books that I've always wanted to do. I get to pick up different arts and crafts and take it serious, things that I've always wanted to try. And I get to spend more time with loved ones. That loved one is a funny thing because I feel like I've been trying to, for the last 8 years professionally as an athlete, I've been trying to build a life. I've been trying to build a life for and to spend time with loved ones. But in doing that and building the life that I want to spend time with loved ones, I've been away from them. And so it feels amazing now to, you know, walk in those fruits, to watch your nephews grow up and try to chase the dreams that you've accomplished. And I do feel like life, you want to live a life worth mimicking. And now I get to do that outside the game.
And Rashad Jennings now divides his time between New York City and Los Angeles, where he's pursuing sportscasting and acting. But as you heard, he spends a lot more time at home. And home for him is Lynchburg, Virginia. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Time now for your Thursday Thankful. And today's prayer of gratitude is this. Father, thanks for helping me to see that I can never fix what I don't face. And with you, I never have to face anything at all alone. With that word, I encourage you to make this a very thankful Thursday. Remember, you can always find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. And we'd love to hear what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that by emailing us, newswatch@cbn.com. And of course, you can always reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. Make this a thankful Thursday. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Goodbye and God bless.